record the meeting so that they can also participate in the session whenever they eventually get to have the time to look through the recording. Before we get started, let us quickly inform us that this presentation is designed to help ordinary people understand how consistency, time, and structured investing can help you create financial growth over a period of time, over the long term. The focus is not on speculation. The focus is on investing through structure, through discipline, and a long-term capital building process. Now, before we proceed, it's important to understand that this presentation is strictly educational and informational. So nothing here should be seen as financial advice. Every participant of this presentation remains responsible for their own financial decisions. The examples that we will show here, the illustrations that we will show here are based on historical market data and long-term market behavior. Market here refers to the stock market. And Skyward Community provides analytical information and portfolio guidance, while your funds remain under your control and in your brokerage account. So having laid that foundation, let us now move into the main presentation and discuss this product, which is called the Road to 1 Million. Now, if I say, who here wants financial freedom? Just indicate by putting plus if you want financial freedom. And if you don't want financial freedom, or maybe you don't think financial freedom is important, then perhaps you can put minus. So just indicate where you are on the spectrum of desire for financial freedom. Yes, I see your pluses, because most people want financial freedom. The challenge, however, is that many people do not have a structured pathway towards that financial freedom. It's kind of like this, people saying, you need to succeed, you need to be successful. And many people talk about success, the destination, but the pathway, the process to achieving it, nobody actually really emphasizes on that. If you even get to find people who are successful, and you ask some of them that, can you share with me the secret of your success? There's a podcaster who goes about interviewing rich people, ask them the question, how is this your, sometimes they have a car parked, a very expensive car. He says, is this your car? They say, yes. And then they say, what do you do that you have been able to, make this kind of money? Some of you would have seen such content. And some of them talk about their process in very vague terms. What is one word you can give to the next generation? Just tell you something like work hard, and it's very important to work hard. However, the people who do work menial jobs are also working hard. Some days ago, I had a handyman come around to do some work in my house. And, the amount we agreed upon for his services, by the time I actually saw the work he did, I had to pay him extra. Because honestly, you cannot pay me enough to do that kind of job. This guy worked harder than, in fact, when he was working, I was telling myself that this guy is working this hard for this little amount of money I'm about to pay him, then I have no excuse. I don't know if you can ever relate to such a motivation. It was abstract, but when you talk about work hard, the people that are not making the money, it's not because they are lazy. So there is a secret that is not being said. So what I'm saying in essence is that people don't really want to show you the path to financial freedom. They want to give you vague advice where they are hiding the real thing for the insiders, to have an advantage over everyone else. However, Road to 1 Million shows a structured pathway to reaching a specific goal. And it is built around the concept of consistent monthly contributions, consistent monthly investments, let me use the word investment, into diversified portfolios over a long period of time. That is the basis for the Road to 1 Million product. The objective is very simple: to create long-term capital through patience, through compounding, and through disciplined investing. So this is not about getting rich quickly. What we'll be discussing here tonight is not put $100 and come and pack 1 million in 3 months. That's not what we are discussing here. We're talking about a building process, sustainable wealth creation process that is gradual, that takes discipline, that takes patience, and takes compounding to work its magic. So let us move on. Now, the ecosystem that presents this product, Road to 1 Million, is the SWC ecosystem, the Skyward Community ecosystem. Now, Skyward Community ecosystem, the way it is currently set up, has 3 components. It has the SWC pass. This is like your ticket to the show, your ticket to the game. Because to participate in SWC field, you need a ticket known as SWC pass. So this gives you access to the entire ecosystem where you have the following products. The first being the Road to 1 Million product, which is focused on long-term investing strategies in the US and Russian stock market. So this product basically gives you investment analytics and rationale on a month-to-month basis for picking stocks for investment in the US and Russian stock markets. Now, the second product in the ecosystem is private investment opportunities in the SWC Field Showcase. Private investment opportunities are not usually available in the public market. So we see here 2 very distinct categories of products. The products of Road to 1 Million deals with listed shares in the public market, US and Russian stock exchange markets. So you see a methodology for picking stocks in that market, public market. And then we have the SWC Field Showcase that involves private investment opportunities not available in the public market. So you can see that they cover both areas, private markets, public markets. They have a product for both categories. The idea is to move the participants from just learning theory into a structured participation in these products, in these investment processes. Because there are 3 things that prevent people from building capital. 3 things. Number 1, some people start and then immediately they feel any tension in the market, they quickly stop. And so they sell at the wrong time, they panic, and they are unable to get the benefit of compounding. Another thing is that people invest without clear strategy. And their investment is tied majorly to emotional decisions. When you do not invest with a clear strategy, immediately the market takes a downward turn, you can panic. In fact, if there is no clear strategy, you might be investing based on the suggestion or the hype of a current stock. Maybe you are aware of, for example, you hear about the IPO of Tesla. And because of all the media buzz, you are excited to jump in. You have not done any kind of fundamentals analysis. You don't have personal conviction. You may jump in with the crowd because of the fear of missing out. And then you buy a stock. And then maybe the stock price begins to go down. You panic and you sell it. But for people who have, analyzed that particular asset enough to know why they are holding that stock, they may retain their position in that market, and before you know it, it goes back up. So people who act on emotion, they are the ones who start and then stop immediately. They start to sense tensions in the market. They are the ones who panic when the market is volatile and sell at the wrong time. They are the ones investing without clear strategy. However, one of the biggest advantage in long-term investing is the advantage of compound interest. In fact, Warren Buffett refers to compound interest or compounding as the eighth wonder of the world. The eighth wonder of the world, because there are 7 wonders of the world, and some of you know some of them. Warren Buffett refers to compounding as the 8th wonder of the world. Yeah, but you see, compound interest will only work for you if you stay consistent and committed over time. And the only way to stay consistent is to have a clear strategy. We're making progress. Now, compound interest, being one of the most powerful financial principles in the world, can work for you when you follow a clear strategy. It doesn't matter if you are doing small, consistent investments over a period of time, where in which each time you make returns on the investment, you add it for the next investment cycle. And over a period of time, you would see that the compound returns on that particular investment have accelerated and generated additional returns for you. Now, if, for example, you started with $1,000 and then you begin your investment journey, you make, let's say, 15% per annum on $1,000. When you're investing the next cycle, you're not investing $1,000 anymore. You're investing your initial capital plus profit. So what you'll be getting, if, for example, we say 15% per annum is fixed, what you'll be getting next year as 15% on $1,000 plus your initial profit will be more than what you got the previous year. And if you keep compounding over a period of time, you will be so shocked that the person who is not compounding and your results will be vastly different. So the key lesson here is that consistency and time, as well as patience, are very important elements of the process of investing if you seek to leverage the maximum advantage of compounding. And another thing to note is that the earlier a person starts, the stronger the long-term effect of compounding becomes. Because when compounding has a longer period of time to work its magic, you will get better results than the person who started later. Now, let us look at real companies. Now, for example, in this slide, you can see we have Apple, Amazon, Microsoft, and NVIDIA. And these are companies that sell real products, that do real business. Now, if since 2004 you had invested $1,000 in the shares of Apple, do you know that you would currently be sitting on $673,000? While NVIDIA would have turned $1,000 invested in 2004 into $311,000. Just $1,000. So this is just to let you know that long-term investing is very highly profitable. Companies like Apple, Amazon, Microsoft, NVIDIA, all of them have experienced long-term expansion because they build real products and they do real business. And these are not schemes. These are not, I want to put 500 and see what happens. This is not the kind of investment that you do with the mindset that you want to just see what happens. These are real companies with real products making real profits. Are we together? If we are, type together in the chat. Now, if you look at this slide, it shows you what consistent monthly investing can help you achieve. A person who is investing just $100 per month over time, even though it's a relatively small amount is investing, the portfolio value of that $100 can grow substantially because of compound growth. So $100 monthly amounts to $1,200 at the end of the year. Now, in 5 years, that person would have invested $6,000. If that person is getting an annual return of 15 to 20%, if you put compound growth into that $6,000, that person has invested over 5 years, guess what his returns will be? In 5 years, he would have had a return of $9,500. Now, in 10 years, with compounding at an annual return of 15 to 20%, in 10 years, that person would have invested $12,000, and guess how much he would have gotten as ROI on his investment? $32,000. So at this point, 10 years, what he's getting as returns is more than 2 times of what he has invested. If we span it for 15 years, in 15 years, somebody investing just $100 monthly would have invested $18,000, and with compounding, he would have gotten $86,000. Please take note. $86,000 means that that person has made $68,000 on top of the $18,000 that he invested. So this tells you that the amount you invest does not matter as long as you are consistent in your investment and you allow time, discipline, and compounding to work its magic and do the heavy lifting for you. Now, let us take 2 different scenarios and compare them. Scenario number 1, somebody starts investing at 25 years. And scenario number 2, someone else starts investing at 35 years. These 2 people invest the same amount every month. And they both get the same amount of returns every single year. The only difference is one started at 25, the other person started at 35. The person who started earlier is greater than the person who started later. From this, you can see that the investor that started 10 years earlier, he ended up with 5.7 times more than the person who started later. So this lesson here tells us something. That starting early is oftentimes more powerful than investing larger amounts later in life. So your greatest asset when you talk about investing is time. So if you are thinking to yourself, I will start investing later, you are only taking away valuable time that you could have used to compound whatever you had invested if you had already invested. Which reminds me of a parable that the Chinese have, which says that the best time to plant a tree is 10 years ago. The second best time is now. Now look at how the results will change when you invest regularly with different amounts of investment. So we compare investing $100 per month to investing $300 per month to investing $500 per month. Now, the person who invests $100 per month after 15 years with a fixed annual return of 15 to 20% and a 3% dividend yield. These are all approximate figures, estimates, but it's for comparison. Now, if we keep all those factors consistent, the time, 15 years, returns 15 to 20%, and 3% as dividend yield, someone investing $100 per month in 15 years would have gotten a monthly passive income of $215 per month. Why is that? Because in 15 years, his portfolio would have grown to $86,000. His total investment will be $18,000 plus the portfolio value in terms of the annual 15 to 20% growth in terms of compound returns would have appreciated to $86,000. And when you factor in the reinvested dividends, this person would have over 100,000 plus in their portfolio just by using $100 per month. Now, I know that we are talking in dollars. To translate that to Naira will be probably a little bit higher because Naira to dollar exchange is currently at around 13.90 per dollar. So investing $100 per month is like 139,000 every month. So this may not be within the reach of the average investor in Nigeria. However, this is still something that is possible for many people. And even if this amount is not within the reach for most average investors, this is just to illustrate the power of consistent monthly investment over a long period of time. Now, if we were to compare $300 per month investing for the same period of time and the same annual return of 15 to 20% and 3% dividend yield, in 15 years, this person would have grown his portfolio to $258,000 despite only investing $54,000 over that period of time. And if you take the reinvested dividends into account, the portfolio is well over $300,000 just from investing $300 per month over a period of 15 years. Now, if you take someone that invests $500 per month, keep all other factors equal, in 15 years, that person's total investment value will be $90,000. However, his portfolio value with compound growth would have grown to $430,000. Then if you factor in the reinvested dividends, that is over $500,000. So that if you now divide $500,000 per month to know how much is the ROI per month that this person is actually getting, you discover that his monthly passive income is around $1,075 per month after you take into account all these 15 years of compound returns. So what are we saying in essence? The principle is if you invest regularly and give it time, you are going to see massive growth in your portfolio. And this isn't just about luck. This is about discipline. Because historically, the stock market returns 15 to 20% per annum. As far as you stay committed and you stay with a consistent strategy, you can actually see these kinds of growth in your portfolio. Now, a very interesting question comes to mind because of the name or the theme of this presentation, which is Road to 1 million. So the question comes up for consideration that how long does it take to reach that target of $1 million? The answer is, it simply depends on the amount you invest and the amount of time, as well as your discipline. If you look at this slide here, you see that $200 per month for 25 years with compound, that's at 15 to 20% per annum with compound growth. $200 per month invested for 25 years will give you $1 million. If you invest $500 per month, you will achieve $1 million at 15 to 20% per annum, plus compounding, investing your profit as well as your initial capital every year. You will achieve $1 million in 20 years. Then for somebody investing $1,000 per month, getting 15 to 20% per annum, and reinvesting their returns so that it can compound, that person will achieve $1 million in 16 years. So if, for example, you just gave birth to a child, today is their birthday, and you decide to start investing $1,000 every month, maybe you say it's for that child's tertiary education. By the time your child turns 16, if you get 15 to 20% and stay disciplined and consistent, you will have $1 million, even though in that 16 years, your total investment would not be up to a quarter of that sum. Are we together? Please, if we are together, type together in the chat. Now, that illustration of that possibility to achieve $1 million as an outcome for yourself, for it to become a reality, you need a system. Somebody type system. Now, you need a system because without a system, you may not stay committed to the process for that length of time that it takes to achieve that result. You may witness tensions in the market, volatility, and you abandon your vision, abandon your strategy, and sell your portfolio, like you liquidate your portfolio, and you liquidate perhaps too soon, perhaps at an unfavorable price. So you really need a system that will help guide your action and help regulate your emotion. This system can be achieved in 4 steps. Number 1 is to determine your goal. The system should help you to determine what? Your goals. What do you want to achieve? What is your reason for even wanting to build a portfolio in the first place? Are you seeking to leave an inheritance for your children? Are you seeking to build your own personal retirement where you would not have to work anymore and where you would live in abundance? What is your main goal? You don't just start without a why. Your why has to be there, and it has to be strong. A strong why is what keeps you invested with clarity for the long term. Now, when you have determined your goal, the second thing is to form a portfolio. What is a portfolio? You know, the idea I have of portfolio that I will use for this is, you know, those olden days bag that used to be like a box that you carry in your hand. We call it portfolio. Now, when you think about that box, when you open it, there are different things inside that box. There might be books, there might be pen, there might be clothing items, wallets, different things. So a portfolio is a collection of items inside one entity or unit belonging to an individual. So your portfolio is the stocks in your ownership. So when you open your broker account, all those stocks you have bought, they are what forms your portfolio. And What we'll be giving you here tonight is the logic for building that portfolio and for investing regularly and for tracking your progress, because those are the things you need in order to achieve financial clarity. This is the goal. This is where I want to get to. This is my end game. This is my end result. How do I now build a portfolio that will take me to that goal? Regularly make investments and track my progress to see how well I am moving towards that goal. How much time do I need to achieve this goal if I'm investing this amount per month or this amount per month? I'm building a portfolio to reach that 1 million target, if that is your target. Whatever be your target, the same logic applies. Determine your target and your why. Don't just say your target cannot just be you want to make money. There has to be a strong why behind your wanting to do it. Otherwise, it's not motivating enough, because money is just numbers and numbers don't end. So if your chase of or quest for money is not tied to a strong reason, then it is a futile endeavor. So you need a strong why. Now, one of the major challenges for people, especially when they have these goals that they have already set, and they're not thinking how to invest, what assets to pick and put in their portfolio. One of the major challenges they face at this point is the complexity of financial analysis. You now begin to think fundamental analysis, technical analysis. It's not everyone who has this competence. Do you agree with me? If you agree, put plus. In fact, let's put it this way. If you have the competence to run fundamental analysis, technical analysis, and pick stocks for yourself, and perhaps you already do this, just give me a thumbs up in the chat. A thumbs up like this. You already buy stocks. You are competent to do the analysis by yourself. If you think that you need help in such a crucial area of analysis in terms of the complexity of dealing with financial analysis, then give me, just type minus. I'm looking at the chat. Okay, so we have someone here who is competent to do the analysis themselves. That's amazing. Mr. Alex George Will, he says he's very competent in that area of fundamental and technical analysis. This is amazing. But now, Mr. Alex, this is a skill. I'm sure you will agree with me that it is not everybody who has that skill. And it is a very profitable skill when deployed correctly. Now, not everyone, and in fact, Mr. Alex, perhaps you can unmute your mic. Let us just discuss for a little bit. You will tell us, please, how long did it take you to acquire this skill? So if you don't mind, you can just share.
Okay. Sorry, good evening all. Can you hear me?
Good evening, sir. Like, we can hear you.
Okay. Actually, it is not an easy road. I got my fundamental training and the technical analysis. You know, before now, I used to be a Forex trader, and it's very vast. And as even now, I'm still, Forex trading is like life. It's a life something. I traveled far and wide. I began this journey, I think, 2015. And this is 2026, almost 11 years now, thereabout. And I'm still learning. 2015, I went to Ibadan, went to Lagos, I met different kind of people who are into the Forex and the stock market analysis and trading and everything. Paid so much. It's not easy. It's not even free. Sometimes you have to lodge yourself in a hotel just to attend 2 or 3 days training, or 1 or 2, 3 weeks seminar, training, expose from somebody traveling, coming from abroad, all of those things. So it's not an easy road, though. That is why I think having somebody who knows how to do fundamental or technical analysis of stocks bonds, and then the forex market as a whole. If you have one of them, then it's amazing. Then if you have the skill too, you are good to go. I have not been feeling too well, and right now as I'm talking to you, I've been scheduled for surgery, and my sick bed, or the sick bed, following up on everything. But yet, at least with the knowledge, one still has to like open your system and do one or two things to make one or two earnings. You know, to be ill in Nigeria, to be booked for surgery in Nigeria is not an easy thing. But yet, money must be coming in, you know, and it's a wonderful opportunity and privilege and an amazing skill to have. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Honestly, you are, I don't even know what to say. I had a surgery, and I remember it was on the 24th of July 2024. I was scheduled to have an implant removed. This implant, I had a fracture of my humerus, and then I had a bone graft surgery in 2021. Yeah, 2021, I had a bone graft surgery with a metal plate. An implant was in my hand for 4 years. So I was scheduled to have it removed in July 24th, 2024. Now, before I went into the theater, I was trading. In fact, I did a trade right before entering. I had to remove my cloth and wear the cloth that they take you to the surgery with. So before I changed, I did a trade. So like, you are absolutely correct. You have to make money because the money doesn't care whether you are strong or, whether you are unwell, which is why you have to learn the skills to be able to make money from anywhere in the world, even if it's from a hospital bed. And I am really, really sorry about your health. I pray your surgery is successful, and I pray that you are back to full health in no time. And honestly, I'm grateful to you for following up despite where you are currently, and even for contributing your knowledge. May God bless you, and may God grant you speedy recovery.
Thank you, dear. Thank you, bro. Thank you, Bossy.
Thank you, sir. Now, like Mr. George Will has said, it is a skill that takes time, years of practice to master. And even in the skill, there are always room for improvement. People will still tell you, come back to hone the skill, come back to get more insights, to get, there is no end to the knowledge. Mr. George Will has been on this journey now for 11 years. And you keep getting better and better, but there is always room for improvement. I see that Mr. Dave Feyi, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly, Feyis Dewey. You also have the skill of analysis. Now, this is beautiful. I see that we have enlightened people with us. I myself, I have tried. I was not very successful in learning. In fact, let me just tell you what I do. What I do now is I trade with a strategy that I would call it scalping. Yeah, because I just basically ride the waves. And I ride the waves with I probably share the Excel sheet in our chat. What I basically do is I buy and then I sell when there's a 2.5% increase in the price of that asset. This is for cryptocurrency. It's not for stocks investing. This is for cryptocurrency because cryptocurrencies are very volatile. So I look for a volatile cryptocurrency. Now, this is not advice. I'm not telling you to do the same because it will only work for you if you do not want to touch that asset at all. Like, I do this because it suits my own personal investments, let me say persona. So don't do it. It's not me. I'm not recommending this to you. But what I do is I buy an asset. If the price goes up by 2.5%, I sell it. And then I set a point to buy it again. when the price dips by a certain percentage and sell it when it increases by, I just use percentage increase and decrease, but I do not put any stop loss. So I just buy it and wait until it appreciates by a small percentage, 2.5 usually, and then I sell. So I put up like a couple of entries, assuming the market is going down, and I also put entries assuming the market is going up. So if the market dips, all those points I have already programmed will start, those trades will start, activating. And then when it goes up, it sells. There's no exit. So I know I'm staying there until that trade hits my take profit. Otherwise, I just forget about it. So if you use the money that you want to use for daily activities to do such a thing, you might be tempted to sell off before it gets to your profit point or even sell at a loss. So I'm not recommending this to anyone. I checked that it's something that I'll be comfortable with. Instead of just leaving money idle, I decided to just use it to do that. And I do not pay attention to it. That's why it works for me. So it can be there for sometimes even months, but that is because I don't have the skills that you people have. People that can do the analysis and know exactly how much to buy, when to buy, how to enter, and when to exit. You people are skilled in that regard. Me, I'm just doing one layman plating over here. Because I don't have your skill. And it's not like I don't want your skill. I have tried to learn, but the process was not easy. So I had to leave it for the experts and say, no, I'm not, you understand? But if I could have an expert to work with me and walk me through the process and just tell me exactly what to do without having to make me learn everything and do it go through years of training. If I just knew, I think I would be, happy to have a product that simply gives me the signals as well as the rationale behind these signals. And not just signals that are random, but are coming from seasoned experts, people who do the technical and the fundamental analysis and then make recommendations and then print that recommendation on a month-to-month basis. And this is exactly what the SWC is coming to solve, because they want to make it easy for beginner investors as well as seasoned investors to be able to leverage the stock market and to be able to carry out the balanced portfolio architecture using the help of their analytical team, following those structured analytical guidance. So you maintain control of your assets in your own brokerage account. All you are benefiting from the SWC in this road to 1 million product is their organized research. So you will open your SWC road to 1 million product. You will see the signals for that particular month, the list of stocks recommended by the experts and the rationale for why those stocks are recommended in that particular month. The indicators that they looked at that made them to pick those stocks. They will pick stocks in categories that gives you a portfolio logic. They will give you high risk, moderate risk, as well as low risk products in order for you to have a balance. And they will now give you percentages that they recommend that you should invest. If you're investing a specific amount, this percentage should go to this percentage should go to this kind of asset, this percentage should go to this kind of asset, and they will show you the companies. In this month, these are the companies within this sector that will give you, balance in your portfolio, maybe under the category of stable or moderate risk assets. This is under the category of high risk. This is the amount they recommend you should allocate of your investment total. This is the percentage they recommend you should allocate to this high risk asset. Basically, they give you all this. They will give you scenarios. For example, if you're investing this amount, this is one way you can do it following this scenario. This is another scenario you can use. So it's a very, very detailed instrument based on the research that their team have carried out. You yourself will just look at it and You can use this tool only 10 minutes in a month. You can just basically consume the information and pick the asset that is recommended, and that is it. You are done for that month. If you plan to invest, for example, $100 in a month or $1,000 in a month, and you need that kind of structure to guide your purchase, you can use this tool. That's exactly what it is. Or you can take the process of learning for 11 years on your own. You know, one very nice quote I heard from one of my mentors is that if you want to, I don't know how it goes, but the idea is that if you want to reduce the time that it will take you to get from one point to another, you must look for somebody that has already gone from that point you are to the point you want to be. And that person will now tell you how exactly, in order for you yourself not to spend the amount of time they spent learning and making mistakes. You can easily do only what works and you get your results. They say if you sit in the shoulders of giants, you'll be able to see what they see. So you don't have to spend time going through the process of learning by yourself. Just leveraging mentors or people who have the knowledge can save you years of time that you would have spent doing it yourself. True or false? Write in the chat. So this is the product, or rather one of the products that you get from the SWC Field ecosystem, because currently what they are creating or what they have created is this ecosystem called the SWC Field, where you will see both assets in the stock market that the road to 1 million is basically telling you these are the assets in the stock market for USA and Russia companies that you should be paying attention to in this month. And they also have the product, which is in the SWC Field, private investment companies yet to go public, that you can access through SWC Field through the SPV, Special Purpose Vehicle. This is a holistic product. SWC Field Architecture is a holistic product covering both the public and the private markets. And all you need to access it is a ticket called SWC Pass. That's basically the key card that unlocks the door for you to go in. And this key card is not free. It costs you a small amount of money, but you are the one who gets to choose your level of participation, because there are different plans that cater to different goals and different needs. And it is your own preference in terms of the duration that you want to stay invested for that will now make you decide which particular plan is most suitable for you. And it all depends on your goals, your budget, as well as the depth of your involvement, the extent to which you want to get involved. I will come back to this very soon. But first of all, I want you to understand that traditionally, financial advising or advisory service can be very expensive. How much do they charge? Financial analysts, their services cost several $100s. Even one session with a financial analyst can cost you as much as $300 to $1,000 in a year. You have a personal financial advisor, you can be paying like $300 to $150 to $300 per session, just one session. However, SWC contains all this in a single system, and if you divide it per month, you are not paying up to $20 per month. Now, looking at the comparison with other similar products in the market, you can already see the advantage in terms of cost benefit is with the SWC product. Now, let us dive deeper into the different levels of participation that the SWC Pass offers participants. So number one, we have the first level, which is called the essential. Now, this one gives you access to the system for 1 year. You get the road to 1 million product, all the signals for that year, you get it. You have access to the SWC field showcase, all the private companies listed there, you can participate in their funding rounds through SPV architecture and own stake in those companies, or own stake in the SPV that eventually goes into buy stake from that company. You can also monitor and track your progress because there's a tracker right there in the SWC pass. You have a tracker you can use to monitor your goals. All the updates in your back office, you'll be able to access them. And this is going to give you access for 1 year. How much does it cost? $290. To divide $290 per year, you're not paying up to $20 per month. The second level is called Plus. You get all the same benefits as you get in Essential, but you get it for 5 years. And it costs just $720. That means you are paying $144 per year. Somebody that is buying the Essential and buys it for 5 years will have spent, give me a moment, the Essential, which is $290, for 5 years would cost $1,450. So if somebody just goes ahead and buys the Plus, what you will be saving is $730. Because what you are paying is just $720 for 5 years, and you save $730. Now, there's another option, which is called the Ultimate. And this is for those who want to buy access to the entire infrastructure for life. You are not going to be required to come back to pay a subscription per year. Once you pay $2,600 once, you have access to this thing and all the products, all the iterations of the upgrades that will come into the ecosystem for life. You have access. Now, this choice is not basically determined by how much you are willing to pay, right? Because there's no right or wrong subscription. There's no subscription that is too cheap or too expensive. Rather, what we have are 3 strategies for 3 different categories of person. The Essential is more like for those people who just want to see how it is. They want to check it out and know, okay, is this something I would like to continue using? So let me just buy 1 year access and see whether it's a product I will like. And then they try with the Essential subscription. Then there are others who want to secure favorable terms. They are thinking, instead of paying $290 per year, why don't I just go for 5 years where I'll be paying only $144 per year? They go for Plus and they pay 5 years at once. It's like one of my friends told me his landlord wanted to increase the rent. Very interesting story. His landlord wanted to increase the rent, and the landlord already told them that when your rent expires next year, you are to renew with XYZ amount. Now, this young man was about to pay his rent for that particular year. So they already told them that next year, after you pay this amount, you're not paying this amount again. Next year, you'll be paying higher. But unfortunately, that period, the landlord lost a loved one and was looking for money to do the burial. Now, this landlord needed money urgently. And the young man approached him with a suggestion. He said, look, I'm here to pay my rent. I'm willing to pay you for 3 years at this current price if you allow me. Otherwise, I will only pay you this year, and next year I will look for a new place. But if you give me the access to fix this price for 3 years, I will pay you upfront for 3 years. And even though you increase the rent for other people, my own would have already been paid at this current discount or this current price, and you will not increase it. The landlord thought for a long time. But as he was thinking and thinking whether should he accept this young man's proposal or insist on collecting a higher amount the following year, he was receiving calls. Hello, considering your mom's burial, the so has not been purchased. We are looking for money to pay for the cow. We are looking for money to pay for the casket. We are looking for money to pay for this. We are looking for money to book hotel. As he was hearing all these billings coming from left, right, and center, he was remembering there's one young man somewhere that told me he wants to pay 3 years ahead. You know what happened? He picked up his phone and called the young man. He said, look, as it is now, I need money. So you see, just pay the 3 years. Pay the 3 years. And that was how this young man secured that particular price for 3 years, despite the fact that every other person had their rent increased. So the idea here is quite simple. To lock in that discount for 5 years, some people might just go for the higher plus package. And then for those who already want to just end the chapter of subscription or not forever, they just take the ultimate and they buy this thing and know that for life, they have access to it. So it is not really a matter of how much is your money, how much do you want to. It really matters how do you view your future. If you plan to invest for more than 1 year, then of course, you should not be thinking of doing the plan that will give you only 1 year access. If you understand the value of time, you will see the value in taking the plan of 5 years instead of 1 year. Then finally, if you want to remove all the unnecessary having to come back and think about paying subscription again in future, you just go for the ultimate and pay at once and forget about it. So what is really important is your view of how long you intend to stay invested or to stay in the investment. Should I use the word ecosystem? How long you want to follow the discipline of long-term investing. And is that not exactly what we are talking about? Because when you stay invested for a longer period, it is always more profitable. And this is the principle we have been talking about throughout this presentation, because in investment, time enhances results, because it is time that allows the magic of compounding to work in your advantage. Yes, we are gradually coming to the end of this presentation. This is not a very long presentation. We will soon finish. I see that Mr. Dewey has a low battery. So in the next 5 minutes, we're wrapping up. You see, financial freedom is not reserved for a special group of people. Financial freedom is available to everyone if you follow these 3 qualities. Number 1, you are consistent in your investment journey, you are disciplined, and you are patient. These qualities are more important than how much you are investing. Because it's the people who stay disciplined over a long period of time that usually put themselves in a stronger financial position at the end of the day. Now, the important point is time is a precious resource. And whether you use it or you don't use it, it is going to pass. Whether we act or not, it is not going to be fixed until we make up our mind. It's like when a woman is pregnant, whether she likes it or not, in 9 months, a baby will come. Whether you're ready for it or you're not, you're going to welcome a baby. So whether you act in terms of, oh, you want to prepare for that baby's arrival, or you don't do anything, that baby is going to show up in 9 months. Whether you prepare financially to take care of that responsibility, the baby is going to show up. I hear this, and I remember a particular funny joke I used to hear. They say you have 9 months to think about a child's name, and the best thing you can come up with is Saturday or Monday. You know, because people begin to wonder, oh, they gave birth to the baby on Monday and you just gave him the name of that particular day. But you had 9 months to think what name to give this child. And the best you could come up with is, a Sunday they born him. Or I give her a Sunday. It was a joke, but they think about it. If the parents were not thinking, what name should we call this child before the child was born? And then the child is going to still be born, whether they are ready with a name or not, whether they are ready with the finances or not. Time will pass, whether you act or not. That's the point I'm trying to make. So if you have money and it's just sitting down idle in the bank, you are thinking that you are saving that money, but let me tell you something, you are paying the cost of inflation. Inflation is eating away at the value of your money. 10 million. 10 million is not 10 million again. No. My priest was talking to us in the church today. He said he only renovated the event center. He just painted it, did some electrical works, did some, bricklaying works, spent 8 million naira on renovation. My goodness, 8 million naira is gone just for painting and electricals. You want to install solar, you are looking for 26 million naira. Money has lost its value. How did it happen? Inflation, ladies and gentlemen. 10 million that used to be like a big deal that year. There used to be a movie. The song that they used in the background or the track was 10.8 million naira. Which kind of money be this? So basically, then it was big money. But today, inflation has watered down the value. Seriously, you will buy something of 10,000 naira, it does not feel a black nylon bag. Let me show you a bag I used to buy. In fact, it will not even get up to half. Inflation. Now, another way you pay, if you are not acting, increasing your capital, is the opportunities that you will miss. You say, well, let me not do it. That opportunity that you did not take, someone else took it, and now they have increased their capital. So you are paying the price in the opportunities you miss. You're also paying the price in the time that you lose. You're not going to get back those 5 years that have already gone. Somebody that started 5 years earlier has already compounded his profits for 5 years before you started. So the question is not whether or not you should invest. The question is, are you paying for inaction, or are you paying for a system that works? Because whether you like it or not, you are paying. Think about it as we conclude. Now, should you decide that you want to get started, you want to try this out, step one, buy the SWC pass from the SWC field, which you can access, in your back office in SWC. Click go to SWC field. Once you get there, you buy the pass that corresponds to the level of your risk that you wish to take. And then you open it, access the Road to 1 Million product, open the file, look at the signals, then open a brokerage account with your preferred broker. The broker recommended there is Interactive Broker, but it does not work in Nigeria. However, you can use Bamboo. In Nigeria, you can use Bamboo, you can use Trove. There's also this broker called, the name will come to me. But basically in Nigeria, you can use Bamboo, you can use Trove. You create a broker account, and then you use the signals to build your portfolio and make your purchase using those analytics and those signals in the Road to 1 Million product. So the system is designed to make it very easy, to make participation very easy for beginners. Now, they're not telling you go and invest everything right away, go and start and put all your money. They are asking you just take the first step. That first step for you might be creating your broker account. That first step for you might be buying the SWC pass. Whatever you define as your first step, take that step. Starting and building a big business is a task that your brain will just say, I cannot. So you might shrink back. For example, I'll use the example of my wedding. When I was thinking, I wanted to do my wedding. I was thinking of all the process of going to my wife's place, which was like 9 hours and 6 states away from my location. And at that time, I was still dealing with surgery, recovery. I was thinking, how will I take people and then travel, lodge, and do all of this? And then I would also look at how I would come back here, do the white, so that my people here can also attend, those who cannot travel to my wife's state. The thing was very big in my head. But I told myself, look, if you look at it like this, it will be too insurmountable. Just break it down to the very thing that you need to do right now. What action should I take right now? And I said, okay, right now, what can I do? I can call my father-in-law to be and at least ask him some questions about the process. And I took up my phone, I called the man. So you don't have to do a very big thing. Do the small one you can do. And before you know it, you would have broken that thing down into pieces and you would have finished doing everything. True or false? So the way to accomplish a big task is to break it into parts and take the first step. There is no ideal time to start. There's no ideal moment. Because if you are keeping for later what you can do now, you will only be paying the price in terms of the time that you lose. So, whatever you define as your first step, do it today. Get started today. At this junction, I would like to thank every one of you who have been with me from this call, from the beginning of this call till this very moment. I want to thank you for your attention, for your questions, your contribution. And I want to bring to your mind, once again, financial growth is the result of long-term consistency, not short-term excitement. Excitements can help, of course. There is excitement now about the proposed IPO of Dangote refineries. There's excitement about Tesla stocks going public. There's excitement about OpenAI about to go public. So much excitement. It can be helpful in the short term, but financial growth is usually the result of long-term consistency, not short-term excitement. Even if exciting developments in the short term can significantly boost your portfolio, it is still discipline that helps you to retain those profits and ROI that comes in from the short-term spikes in the market. Are we together? So, study carefully, do your research, ask questions, understand the process before you go ahead and make a decision. Because the earlier you begin learning and participating responsibly, the more time you will give for compounding to work its magic in your favor. Thank you, and God bless you. Are there any questions?